You are going to get the next question after the member for Albury. Member for Albury.
My question is directed to the Minister for Energy and Environment. Can the Minister update the House on how the government is cleaning up the state?
Minister. Quiet, please.
By keeping Labor out of office. By keeping Labor out of office, because, Mr Speaker, there's nothing more toxic to the people and environment of New South Wales than the party of those opposite, Mr Speaker. Mr Speaker, all morning they've been banging on about cleaning up the environment, but the Leader of the Opposition can't even clean up the Labor Party, Mr Speaker. In fact, Mr Speaker, in the morning she's been jumping Jody when it comes to banning the bag, but she's missing Mackay when it comes to kicking out Caleb, Mr Speaker.
Paul Stevens, rise on a point of order. Just stop the clock, please. Yep. I'm happy to... What's the point of order?
It's 129. The Minister is not being remotely relevant to the question that was asked.
Thank you. Thank you. The
About
Minister is making...
energy and the environment.
Thank you. Thank you. The Minister is making introductory comments. I'm happy to proceed on that basis.
Mr Speaker, we're cleaning up the state by stopping Labor getting into office, Mr Speaker. And is it any wonder the Leader of the Opposition wouldn't kick out Kayla? It's because Kayla Monet, Cover Up Kayla, delivered bags of votes to the Leader of the Opposition, and her award is leaving with bags of cash.
Sit down.
Bags of cash.
Member for Kean, what's your point of order, please?
So,
what's your point of order?
We all heard that.
I'm asking what your point of order
73,
is.
but we all heard that. I'm assuming you heard that. Do you think that is an improper motive against the member for Strathfield and the Leader of the Opposition?
Yes.
It's not?
I'm asking you to be more specific in terms of what you... I'm inviting you to be more specific.
Mr Speaker.
Minister will continue.
Mr Speaker, the Cover Up Kayla delivered bags of votes to the Leader of the Opposition, and her reward was getting bags of cash. In fact, 7 Audi bags of cash. 7 Audi bags of cash.
Yeah, no, that's all right. That's all right. I'm happy to hear the point of order from the member for Wyong.
And I say, Mr Speaker, I say this with great respect and with great seriousness, and I hope the Minister listens.
Yes.
This week is Mental Health Week. The person that he's referring to, I'd be very careful. I don't think this isn't appropriate.
What's the point of order? What's the point of order?
129, this isn't about the environment, but I just want to caution people that they should be very careful about what they say in the current climate.
Thank you. Minister, I'm going to ask you to continue. I'm not going to comment on that comment, but I will comment that in terms of some of the comments that you're starting now to direct towards the Leader of the Opposition, I am warning you not to breach Standing Order 73. Thank you.
Mr Speaker, we're doing lots of things to clean up the environment. We've got the Return and Earn scheme in New South Wales, the biggest plastic reduction scheme in the state's history, Mr Speaker. And what have we done? We've delivered 2.5 billion containers back, not going into parks, not going from rivers, not going into beaches, back into recycle, Mr Speaker. And Mr Speaker, the Return and Earn scheme has been great for the environment, but it's also been great for community groups, Mr Speaker. In fact, many community groups have benefited from the Return and Earn scheme. In fact, many charities have benefited from the Return and Earn scheme. And I was delighted to get a request from the Leader of the Opposition for a charity to benefit from the Return and Earn scheme. It was called Kean for Kayla, to help pay the $700,000 that her payout is going to get, Mr Speaker. $700,000, Mr Speaker.
Stop the clock, please. Stop the clock. I'll take the point of order from the member for Canterbury.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. In Standing Order 129, I'm very
interested... The Minister has been relevant. In fact, he's come back to being relevant.
I'm very interested to hear about what the government is doing in terms of the environment.
Thank you. The Minister has come back to the question.
Thank you. We've got the Waste Less, Recycle More initiative. It's an $800 million initiative to make sure that we're recycling more and wasting less. It's a great thing. We want to see more recycling and improving our environment, Mr Speaker. And Mr Speaker, I was very happy. We've been talking a bit about bans recently. Mr Speaker, and I was very happy that the EPA stepped in to ban a product, mixed waste organic output product, that was seeing pesticides, PFAS and plastic going into the soils from which our food was being grown, Mr. Speaker, and that's been welcomed by the environment groups, that's been welcomed by Local Government New South Wales, and I'd like to congratulate the new President of Local Government New South Wales, the outstanding Linda Scott, who's doing a fantastic job. And Mr. Speaker, Linda Scott even said that local government strongly supports banning this process, Mr. Speaker. And she said, you can't take chances with people's health. You can't take chances with people's health. Well, who wants to take chances with people's health, Mr. Speaker? The Shadow Minister for the Environment. The Shadow Minister for the Environment, who supports the use of mixed waste organic output being distributed on our farms, Mr. Speaker. And that great journalist from the Sydney Morning Herald, the Deputy Premier's favourite, Peter Hannon, Mr. Speaker, Peter Hannon, he quotes the Shadow Minister for the Environment saying, the Liberal National Government has a history of slapping bans without listening or working through the consequences. And what did she ask for this morning? A ban on the single-use plastic bag in isolation from other plastics,
Member
Mr.
for
Speaker.
order.
That you support.
Yeah, Minister, you have 2 additional minutes.
Because we support, Mr. Speaker, a comprehensive plastic strategy in New South Wales, Mr. Speaker, because it's not just plastic bags. That is not the silver bullet. It needs to be done, but so too do other plastics. And we do need a comprehensive plastic strategy which includes more recycling, which includes education, and that is exactly what I'm going to take to Cabinet. That's exactly what I'm going to take to Party Room, and that's exactly what we're going to take to Parliament, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker.
8.5 years, you don't even
Member for Port Stephens on a call.
Mr. Speaker.
Member
Well,
for
you're talking about
London is on
discussion
3
papers.
calls.
There's one discussion paper I'm looking forward to reading. That's Michael Lavash's discussion paper into the corrupt conduct of the ALP, Mr. Speaker. I tell you what, let's talk about discussion papers.
Member for Wollongong Rise on a point of order.
Mr. Speaker, I refer you to a ruling by an excellent Speaker
What's
of
the
the
standing
past
order, please?
On Monday, where you directed a minister to be relevant to the question. It was Speaker O'Day. I ask you to repeat that and direct him to be relevant to the question too.
Thank you. Minister will
I
continue.
can't wait for Michael Lavash's discussion paper. I can see the title now. What to do with a corrupt party, Mr. Speaker. What to do with a corrupt paper. In Labor, Mr. Speaker, you don't get penalised for lying to
Stop the
ICAC.
clock. Stop the clock. Member for Campbelltown.
Standing Order 59, tedious repetition and irrelevance. Mr. Speaker, the Minister is flouting your previous ruling
What
and
was that
directive
ruling?
to him.
What was that
59,
ruling?
tedious repetition and irrelevance.
What was the ruling?
You called the Minister to come back. You gave him extra time, but called him back to order.
And the Minister did come back to the question. Thank
He
you.
is- he
Thank you.
continues
That's enough.
to
That's enough. In relation
inappropriately
to
refer
your
to
standing
members of the
order
opposition.
59, the Minister is not being tediously repetitious, so thank you. Minister, please continue.
Mr. Speaker, in Jodie Mackay's Labor Party, you don't get penalised for lying to ICAC, you get paid for it. $700,000, Mr. Speaker. $700,000 of union fees, of members' fees, and of levies paid for by the members of those opposite. Taxpayer funds
please.
going to pay out the disgraced General Secretary.
Member for Swansea.
Mr. Speaker, you clearly have to agree that this
What's the point of order, please?
It's obvious
point of
to
order?
everybody here that the Minister
What's
is
the point
not
of order?
answering the question. 129.
Thank you.
I would say to the Minister, talk
you.
about the environment because it's important. Or maybe you could
Member
just
for
send us
Swansea.
all a text.
Member for Swansea, you're pushing it again. Please do not continue to talk at the table.
I'm happy to
after
talk
I've asked you to
about
stop.
the environment, I'm happy to talk about the political environment, and I'm happy to talk about the fact that lying to ICAC, breaking the law, covering up a crime, doesn't get penalised in Jodie Mackay's ALP. It gets paid. It gets paid, Mr. Speaker.
Point of
Member for Campbelltown.
73, Mr. Speaker. The Minister is conducting himself in a grossly inappropriate manner. Grossly inappropriate, unparliamentary, and I ask you to call them back to order
Time
with
has
appropriate
expired.
behaviour.
Time has expired. Member for Lakemba.